Welcome to another episode of Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Retirement Podcast, where certified financial planner Lauren Sherman shares thoughts on having a healthy mind, body, and spirit, an abundance of wealth inside portfolios and out, and lessons learned from clients and mentors over the years.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today as we take a bit of a different direction for this episode. I'm your host, Lauren Sherman, and we're going to talk about creating a biblical-based retirement plan. Money, politics, sex, and religion. In past episodes, we've already covered 2 of these taboo topics, and one we'll just leave alone. So let's dive into religion and how you can create a retirement plan with a biblical focus. Have you ever wondered how your faith and your retirement intersect? With a review of Jeff Haanen's book, An Uncommon Guide to Retirement, Jeff reviews society's status quo, or common ways of looking at retirement, contrasted with an uncommon or more biblical perspective. Jeff is a frequent contributor to finance and faith articles, as well as both founder and director of Denver Institute for Faith and Work, making him a great fit for today's topic. You may not agree with everything he has to say, and that's okay, but our goal is to at least pose the questions so you can make retirement choices with intentionality. Let's dive in. What is retirement? We hear the word retirement talked about quite frequently these days. It's discussed in magazines, radio, and news, and many of you might remember those commercials with people carrying around their retirement number, which represented the number that they needed to hit before they could stop working. But if we can jump into a time machine for a moment, let's imagine ourselves back in the 1920s, where we were just starting to see the beginning of pensions. While many industries began offering pensions, at the time they were poorly funded and not expected to pay for long. Soon after, in 1935, the Social Security Act was passed under FDR, but even then it wasn't meant to support someone for more than a few years. In fact, Social Security wouldn't kick in until age 65, and average life expectancy at the time was only about 60 years old. Pensions and Social Security were the beginning, but this new concept of retirement became popularized after World War II around 1945. While somewhat new to our country's history, there are several biblical references about withdrawing from service. Jeff uses scripture referencing Numbers 8:25 as an example. To quote, "And at the age of 50, they shall withdraw from the duty of service and serve no more. They may assist their brothers in performing their duties at the tent of meeting, but they themselves must not do the work." Jeff goes on to challenge the extremes on each side, where some scorn the idea of retirement and continue to work as long as possible, while others on the other side look at it like a never-ending vacation. Instead, we can enter into retirement with a stretch of deep Sabbath rest, giving room for thought and prayer for the next chapter in our lives. The book of James summarizes, "Taking a sabbatical can release the chains of anxiety and restore us to our proper place as created beings dependent on God the Father for every good gift." Jeff goes on to highlight the difference in taking rest as we commonly see it as indulge, you deserve it, versus drink in the joy of God. We can get caught up in life's routines and status quo, which is why Jeff recommends being intentional with a written plan. In fact, studies show that those who write out their plan for retirement are far more satisfied than those who do not. If you don't yet have the answers, or even if you spend a retirement searching for them, you've made great progress simply by asking the right questions. So, what are the best questions for creating an intentional, biblically focused retirement? Jeff gives us a short list to help out. First, what is God calling me to do? Second, what unique gifts can I still share with the world? Third, what will be different from my career and what will be similar? Fourth, how many hours will I work per day or per week? Fifth, what kinds of work do I want to experiment with? Perhaps seek advice from a mentor or a veteran. Sixth, how will I balance and embrace my different callings in retirement? For example, your role as a parent, spouse, mentor, church member, worker, etc. Influential thinker Peter Drucker put it this way: efficiency is doing the thing right. Effectiveness is doing the right thing. When we put these two together, that's where true impact happens. This is where Jeff encourages retirees to not only put thought into what they will do in retirement, but also what they will not do. He calls it your not to-do list, and it's just as important as your to-do list, perhaps even more so in today's age when distraction is only a click away. Some uncommon thoughts on learning. By now, you can probably recognize a consistent theme that Jeff is big on intentionality. We will all have different goals, and everyone's retirement will be unique to them, but when we put thought and decision behind our actions, almost ironically, it's so much more freeing than acting on a whim or going wherever the wind blows. In short, what Jeff is saying here is that often people view a plan as a constraint and something that limits their options. Instead, Jeff suggests that the thoughtfulness that goes into a well-crafted plan will actually free up your time and energy, and you'll enjoy retirement more as you're working towards something important. It's with that intentionality that Jeff asks us to ponder. Who will you learn from? Who do you spend the most time with? Who do you consider wiser, and how can you learn from them? Do you learn better from others or on your own? Are you learning just to learn or to fill his kingdom? Proverbs 13:20 reads, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." A shift in mindset. By taking a sabbatical to rest and recharge, by pondering the questions that we just asked ourselves about our callings and our gifts that we have yet to share, our hope is that you find and expand on your purpose in retirement, that you see it not as the last half of life, but rather another chapter, something that reinvigorates your passion. Even if your reality is that time is short, look for opportunities to mentor, passing stories, wisdom, and blessings to the next generations. A legacy is etched into the minds and hearts of others and the stories they share of you. A final thought from Jeff. For many, common thoughts about retirement include fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But the uncommon reality is that retirement has hope because the Christian story is true, and hope springs from the empty tomb. That's all for this episode. Don't hesitate to check out the show notes for more resources, which is also where you can find a link to the book we discussed today. Of course, if you have more questions or would like to schedule a time to chat, head over to healthywealthywiseretirement.com. Thanks for joining today, and we'll chat again in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much for listening and supporting this podcast. If you've enjoyed listening, we would love if you took a quick moment to leave an honest review. Of course, we're shooting for 5 stars, but if you have suggestions to improve the show, we would love to hear from you too. Just click on the podcast name, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Retirement Podcast, and scroll down to ratings and review. Thanks again for your support, as this helps us reach a wider audience and help even more retirees just like you. This podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and is not intended as a specific tax, legal, or investment advice. Lauren Sherman is a certified financial planner and co-owner of Integrity Wealth Management, an investment advisor serving retirees in search of their own healthy, wealthy, and wise retirement lifestyle.